I love to create and build the bridge between artists and their fans through smart design of fan experiences and engagements on a macro and micro scale. And that's everything from looking at how you can supplement interaction by interfacing digital to day-to-day and week-to-week life, to on-site and destination experiences at tour dates and events, tentpole events for artists, destination events for them and their fans, and looking at how to build those different bridges of interaction, both directly with the artist in person, digitally with the artist and their brand ecosystem, and interfaced hybrid in between the digital and in real life experience for fans on their day-to-day and week-to-week schedules. If you look at the 2010s, when direct-to-fan models were first pioneered, it's widely believed that what kind of quelled that or quashed that was that they were direct-to-consumer models being presented as direct-to-fan models, which are two different things. Direct-to-consumer is more purely transactional and based more exclusively on revenues. Direct-to-fan, the return on investment that you get can be differentiated. It may not be exclusively monetary, but it might be in ways that have value, ways that you can mobilize and engage and get your fans participating that has value. And I think when you're looking at that evolution, I think that's what's changed, is that you're moving away from this opaque, one-dimensional, very limited, kind of narrow, but still valuable view when it comes to revenues and a transactional idea towards fans, and understanding that they're human beings, right? So there is that side of them that participates in consumer culture, but there's also this other side of them that's completely unique, right, to each person, that is differentiated in terms of what they value and what value they add. And when you give them that opportunity as participants, that's where you have the chance to learn what those things are. And so I think that's one of the evolutions that we're seeing, is that, to quote my former professor, Henry Jenkins, co-founded the MIT Media Lab, participatory culture. When we look at how we can create a participatory culture within a fan community, that's what creates and builds that bridge that I was talking about to that evolution, to that progression that's taking place, and ushers that in. I'm here to talk about that in the context of XR in fan experience at events, because when you think about what the future of this is, it is, often what's referred to is the spatial internet. We call it the metaverse, but it's spatial internet's a better way to describe it, even though metaverse is fun. I like that one. When we think of the future, we think of a spatial internet. But another important way to think about it is, how does it interface to the real environment around us? And that's where XR is important. That's where XR is critical, I would say, in terms of your strategy, is if you're a major player, a major company in music, and you don't have a XR mixed reality strategy for engaging your fans moving forward, that you can map out, then you're already behind. So it's very important to understand these are the interfaces and these are the tools. And what's really cool is that even though with XR, a lot of the time we want to dream big and make things in headsets and virtual environments and things like that, the majority of fan engagement takes place on the mixed reality end of the spectrum, right? How are people engaging and interacting with their devices? They're already holding the interfaces. And that's why I lean into augmented reality as a tool for that, as a hybrid and interface, among others. But I think that's a good way to understand it, is that when you think of XR and fan experience, that can mean everything from immersive environments, sound, visual, virtual, but also thinking about what that looks like in terms of how fans are interacting and engaging, what interface and what tools are they using to do that. And that's what we're going to be talking about, is that XR, right? Technology and interface, and how to use that in live events. I'm very excited. I have been fortunate to become friends with some members of some different teams from Belgium that are based in the US, who are kind enough to introduce me to Coralie, and I've been very fortunate to become friends with people from here, and have wanted to come here and be part of California since I think 2017 or 18. And so it's really neat to be here. I'm very honored. It's such a privilege to come here and to get to be here finally and experience this event. I think it's very special. It stands out to the rest of the world. I don't know if that's something people realize or not, but I think it's really awesome, like getting to be able to share that perspective is from the across the ocean. Like California has really stood out. It's really stood out as a event that has impact on music and tech and on those conversations and on that community. And so I'm really thrilled to be here, and it's a great honor to be speaking and participating. The same way that streaming and digital platforms have made music a global ecosystem, in the same way has now made conferences, events global, right? You now, whether you intend to or not, to some degree, when you do an event, it's exported globally through digital channels, right? And so when you think in terms of conferences and you think in terms of what people desire most from them, they wish to learn, right? To gain insights. And I think for me, passionately, I feel moving conversations forward in key topics and areas. And it's really good when you can be part of events where instead of just having the same conversations about the same topics 5 years later, 10 years later, where people are still circling around the same topics, is having, conversations that don't just, point in the direction that those things are moving in, but move those conversations forward through substance and talks of substance that give those insights and empower the people present, but also the people that it's reaching through that digital export with the insights, with the information, with the knowledge, where they become participants in moving that conversation forward and advancing those things themselves. I think the value that California has is that it's one of only a few events like it that has the ability to do that outside the noise of Western culture, right? When you think of the digital space, what is everybody doing now? We turn off our notifications, right? Because it's too much, it's noisy and it's crowded. And so you're always looking for ways to cut through that noise, right? To be heard, to have a voice, to reach people. And I think that when you get outside all that noise from Western culture, whose voice comes through clearly? Which voice is reaching people? And I think California has a good voice that is free from the noise, and cuts through globally and reaches people. And I dig that. I think that's very cool. I think what Coralie and the team are doing are very, very cool, and I'm really happy to support it.